Winter Ember. A pleasant stealth game, but with some limitation. The stealth video game genre is not particularly healthy in the AAA area. We essentially have high-level products such as The Last of Us 2, Last of Us, however do not make stealth their backbone, but use it as an alternative approach to direct one. If you are looking for a true stealth game nowadays, the public must be on Hitman, which not surprisingly has achieved a great success. The rest of the scenes, however, is stained with small failures such as Dishonored, which hasn't quite managed to conquer the general public, but also Deus Ex Humankind Divide, which seems to have denied any possibility of seeing a sequel to the Square Enix saga. It also seems useless to mention titles such as Metal Gear and the Splinter Cell, which are continually at the center of rumors and nothing more. So it is from indie field that more proposal arrive, and standing from the April 19, 2022, there will be one more, Winter Ember. In this stealth adventure, the watchword is exploit the shadows and multiple resources at our disposal to get the better of the environment and the enemies. To find out if the Sky Machine Studios game has convicted us all, you have to do it. Continue reading Winter Ember review and watching our also. This short review will be posted in my Telegram channel, so go and check it out. We are the young sons of the Arthurians Arthur, a wealthy family that was erased from history 8 years earlier. Mysterious killers declaimed our family and set the fire to home and to us. Luck assisted us, however we survived. Now we must find answers and above all the revenge. Arthur then returns to his home, to his city, which has changed enormously over the years. A new cult has taken over, and the background to destruction of the host of Arthurians is darker and more complex than originally anticipated. The plot of the Winter Ember is convincing and will be one of the main reasons why the player will want to continue within the adventure. Above all, it always be pleasant to reach a focal point of the plot, and these are told through animated cartoon style scenes. It is particular and pleasant choice, since they made me care. However, Winter Ember is not a main story only game. There is no lack of small secondary missions, which however tend not to surprise there is playful structure on from a narrative point of view. There are small distractions that give us the opportunity to obtain some additional rewards, always very useful. It is also a little smile that Otto, having become a thief and a ruthless murderer, wastes time helping a lady who asks for help because a necklace has been stolen, or decides to run around half the city in search of the city of a noble who clearly wants to steal her inheritance. The player, however, will always have the opportunity to loot, even by stealing in front of the face of the owner of the house in which he entered, who will not blink. So many question mark on the map will always become an interest. Loot can be sold for money, which also us to buy resources, heals and more. But let's talk about the heart of the Winter Ember and its gameplay. As I mentioned, we are talking about the mainly steal of the game. There is no lack of opportunity to face streets openly, and in some situations in also an obligation. Unfortunately, the combat system is not well done at all. Basically, Otto can perform simple attacks, one after the other. The enemy can position himself on the parade, which must be brought down with a change shot followed by a combo. The problem is that the controls are often not very responsive and get stuck. The game does not always recognize the key press, and the change does not start, making us the turn of guarding the enemy, who can then start attacking us while we do the combo. At minimal difficulty, if you have a lot of cures available, it is also possible to fight a few fights to get beaten up without too many consequences, but at high difficulty, death is around the corner after a few hits. There are dodging and parrying, but there are complex moves to use effectively. Everything becomes even more complicated with 2 or more enemies. Not only because we are clearly surrounded, we offer more damage, but also because the attack system is based on automatic lock-on, and Gen that decides based on our position who will attack. And if we have two enemies in front of us, as soon as we perform a parry or break the guard of the enemy, the Wayfinder moves towards the opponent. When an Ember is still focused game, and fighting is an option that many consider, so some audiences won't be find these flaws a big problem. At the same time, the system is clearly badly done, and it's impossible not to mention it. The real heart of the Winter Ember is the interaction with the environment. As you advance in the game, we will in fact obtain a series of special arrows. For example, arrow with a rope to create an access point to elevate the place, or electric arrows to activate machinery or impact around that allow you to break down fragile wooden structures and creative steps. Finding them in this scenario or creating them, we can access multiple types of arrows, also useful in a combat. Obviously, there is no lack of the possibility of approaching every situation with aggressive steel that is taking every opportunity to down enemies silently. If you want, you can also stun them without killing them. The advantage in this case is that no traces and left. If you hide uncautious guard, no enemy will realize that something is wrong. The truth, however, is that the guards tend not to be a particularly large patrol, and above all, they are not very intelligent. We soon realize that it's always better to eliminate enemies and leave them where they are, so as not to risk running into the enemy again once he wakes up. It's a pity that there is no greater focus on peaceful approach. In general, it's interaction with the enemies that leaves something to be desired. As almost mentioned, the fights are poorly done and stealth favors indiscriminate elimination. In general, however, the way in which the enemies are poisoned is also unitizing. Either they are placed in such a way that it is very easy to take them from the behind, or simply block the way they push to eliminate them directly. You can use the various types of arrows to get the better of it, but using the bows is extremely inconvenient, especially with the controller. With the Ember Office as overhead view, and the arc is based on the movement of a pointer, which must be controlled with the right stick. Sometimes even hitting a stationary object is likely to be difficult, resulting in the loss of the precious arrow. The player is not tempted to use the combat, and the controls risk becoming frustrating. It's a pity that there are so many small imperfections of this type, because the design of the rooms is pleasant. There are often multiple methods to enter the main places of the plot. They are secret passages that require the use of one of many auras. You can steal keys from the enemies to open the doors or break them in a simple minigame. You can also complete them, dedicated side missions to create an alternative access point. There is no shortage of ideas, but they are held in check by a product that would have deserved a little more care. And by this, we mean more budget, because its limit always the same. A little more money would also have made it possible to find a better voice actor for the protagonist, like me. There are secondary character voices much better than Arthur, like me, who unfortunately talks too much. Finally, we underline that the game is completely in English, which is okay. Others can participate native. So about the pros, I guess it will be well-designed areas. That's the first one, and the second one is the pleasant texture. And the cons, well, fights to be redone, this is for sure, and a bit awkward contour and interaction system. But nevertheless, thank you for watching. Don't you guys forget to comment and subscribe. Please hit those thumbs up, please hit those bells, and the links in the description. Ciao.